And now the journey refuses to slow down. Because what once felt like a simple process of posting and hoping has transformed into something far more deliberate, far more controlled, where every action you take is no longer random but calculated. And this is the stage where you begin to understand a deeper truth. Growth is not something you chase anymore. It is something you manage, something you direct, something you refine continuously until it starts responding to you instead of you reacting to it. And that shift alone changes everything about how you approach Instagram. At this level, awareness becomes your strongest advantage because you are no longer blind to what is happening behind the scenes. You start noticing patterns in audience behavior, subtle changes in engagement, small fluctuations in reach, and instead of ignoring them, you begin to analyze them with intent, understanding that every small signal carries meaning. Every drop in performance has a reason, and every spike in growth is a result of something specific that can be studied, repeated, and improved further. Now imagine this scenario. Your content performs well one day and slows down the next, and instead of reacting emotionally, instead of feeling confused or frustrated, you pause and observe. You look at your insights, your timing, your hook strength, your retention rate, and slowly you begin to decode what actually happened. And this ability to stay calm, to stay analytical, is what separates creators who grow consistently from those who burn out under pressure. Because pressure at this stage is real, expectations rise, your audience grows. And with that growth comes responsibility, the responsibility to maintain quality, to stay relevant, to keep delivering value. And this can feel overwhelming if you don't have a system in place, if you don't have a clear direction, because without structure, growth becomes chaos, and chaos eventually leads to inconsistency. So structure becomes your anchor, your content calendar becomes more intentional, your posting strategy becomes more refined, and your ideas are no longer random bursts of creativity, but part of a bigger plan, a roadmap that guides your actions, ensuring that every piece of content you create contributes to your overall growth instead of just filling space. And this is where long-term thinking starts to dominate your decisions. Because you are no longer focused on a single post performing well, you are focused on building a library of content, a collection of value that continues to work for you over time, bringing in new viewers, new followers, and new opportunities even when you are not actively posting every moment. Now let's talk about refinement. Because at this level, improvement is no longer about big changes. It is about small adjustments, slight improvements in your hook, better pacing in your videos, clearer messaging in your captions, and these small upgrades, when applied consistently, create a massive difference over time, turning average content into high-performing content without completely changing your style. And as you refine your content, you also refine your understanding of your audience. You begin to notice what they respond to emotionally, what makes them pause, what makes them engage. And this deeper understanding allows you to create content that feels more connected, more relevant, more impactful. Because it is no longer based on assumptions. It is based on real behavior. But even at this stage, challenges do not disappear. They evolve. Because now the challenge is not just growth, it is sustainability. Maintaining your performance over time without losing creativity, without burning out, without becoming repetitive. And this requires balance. The balance between consistency and rest, between strategy and creativity, between discipline and flexibility. And this balance is what allows you to stay in the game longer. Because Instagram is not a short race, it is a long-term journey. And those who understand this pace themselves, they build systems that support them. They create workflows that make content creation easier, and they avoid the trap of overworking without direction. Now everything starts to feel more controlled, more intentional, more aligned, and this is where confidence begins to grow. Not the loud, temporary confidence that comes from one viral post, but the quiet, stable confidence that comes from understanding the system, from knowing that you can grow again and again because you understand how it works. And this confidence changes your behavior, you take smarter risks, you experiment with purpose, you try new ideas without fear because you know how to analyze the outcome. And this mindset keeps you evolving, keeps you improving, keeps you ahead of those who stop learning. Because the truth is simple. Instagram rewards those who adapt, those who stay consistent, those who understand the system deeply enough to move with it instead of against it. And when you reach this level, growth is no longer a mystery. It becomes a process. And the process, once mastered, becomes your biggest advantage because it allows you to repeat success, to rebuild momentum, to scale your presence, and to continue growing even when others feel stuck. And this is where the journey becomes powerful, not because it is easy, but because you have learned how to navigate it. And as we move forward, the next part will take this understanding even deeper, exploring how to protect your growth, how to avoid hidden mistakes, and how to maintain your position even as competition increases. Because at higher levels, staying on top becomes just as important as reaching there.